What I am about to share with you is the very key to unlocking the infinite potential that resides within you. Let us begin by understanding what true visualization really is. Many of you may think of visualization as simply picturing something in your mind, but I tell you now, effective visualization goes far beyond mere mental imagery. It is a complete sensory and emotional experience that engages your entire being. When you visualize in the way I am about to describe, you are not merely creating pictures in your mind. You are entering into an experience so real, so vivid, that to your subconscious mind, it is happening here and now. And it is this conviction, this feeling of reality, that causes the outer world to shift and reshape itself to match your inner experience. The first key to this powerful form of visualization is to engage all your senses. As you create your desired scene in your mind, see it with crystal clarity. Notice the colors, the shapes, the details. But don't stop there. What sounds are present in this scene? Perhaps it's the sound of applause as you achieve your goal, or the gentle laughing of waves on a beach as you enjoy your dream vacation. Hear these sounds as if they were actually reaching your ears. Now feel the textures and sensations associated with your vision. If you're imagining career success, feel the weight of the pen as you sign an important contract. If it's a new home you desire, feel the smooth coolness of the doorknob as you open the front door. Engage your sense of smell. What aromas are present in your scene? The fresh scent of newly mown grass in your backyard, the rich aroma of success in your new office. And if applicable, bring in the sense of taste. If your vision includes a celebration, taste the champagne. If it's a healthy body you desire, taste the crisp, clean flavor of pure water hydrating your system. As you engage all these senses, you are creating a multidimensional experience in your mind. This richness of detail convinces your subconscious mind of the reality of your vision. Remember, your subconscious does not distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is physically experienced. By creating this complete sensory experience, you are impressing upon your subconscious mind the reality of your via. But there is one more crucial element that truly brings your visualization to life and causes reality to shift instantly. That element, my dear friends, is feeling. The feeling of your wish fulfilled is the secret that breathes life into your vision and propels it into physical manifestation. As you visualize, you must feel the emotions you would feel if your desire were already realized. If it's financial abundance you seek, feel the security, the freedom, the joy that comes with wealth. If it's a loving relationship, feel the love, the connection, the deep sense of belonging. Whatever your desire, the feeling must be so real, so intense, that when you open your eyes, you carry with you the emotional satisfaction of your wish fulfilled. This feeling is not something you can fake or force. It must arise naturally from your complete immersion in your visualized scene. This is why the sensory detail is so important. As you see here, feel, smell, and taste your desire. Realize the appropriate emotions will naturally arise. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Wayne, how can I feel something that isn't yet true in my physical reality? And to this I say, your imagination is the bridge between your current reality and your desired state. It is through your imagination that you can step into the feeling of your wish fulfilled, even before it manifests in the physical world. Your imagination is not a flight of fancy or a frivolous faculty. It is the very workshop wherein you fashion your future. When you imagine, you are experiencing reality at its most fundamental level. You are engaging with the pure potential of consciousness. Shake it with your attention and your assumption. To use your imagination in this powerful way, you must first quiet your conscious mind. The chattering of your daily thoughts, your worries, your doubts, these must be silenced. Enter a state of relaxation, a state akin to sleep, but in which you remain consciously aware. In this state, your subconscious mind becomes more receptive to impression. Once in this relaxed state, construct your scene. This scene should be one that implies the fulfillment of your desire. If your desire is for a successful career, you might imagine yourself in your ideal office or receiving congratulations from colleagues. If it's health you seek, imagine yourself engaging in activities that only a healthy person could do. The scene itself should be short and simple. It's not about creating an elaborate story, but about capturing a moment that implies your desire is now a fact. This scene is your platform, the stage upon which you will enact the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Now step in this scene. Don't watch it as a spectator, but experience it from the first-person perspective. Be there in that moment, and as you experience it, let the feeling of fulfillment wash over you. Feel the gratitude, the joy, the satisfaction of having your desire realized. This is where many falter. They can see the scene clearly, but they fail to evoke the feeling. Remember, it is the feeling that gives life to your visualization. Without feeling, visualization is merely a mental exercise. With feeling, it becomes an act of creation. As you practice this, you may find that the feeling comes more easily with repetition. Each time you return to your scene, the feeling becomes more vivid, more real. This is good. You are strengthening the impression upon your subconscious mind. But here's a crucial point. Once you have evoked the feeling, once you have impressed it upon your subconscious, you must carry it with you into your waking life. This is where many stumble. They do their visualization exercise. They feel it intensely in the moment, but then they return to their daily life and fall back into old patterns of thought and feeling. To cause reality to shift instantly, you must maintain the feeling of your wish fulfilled, even in the face of contradictory evidence. This is where faith comes in. Not blind faith, but faith born of understanding that your outer world is a reflection of your inner state. When you truly grasp this, you will no longer be swayed by appearances. You will know that what you see around you is the effect, not the cause. The cause lies in your consciousness, in your feeling. And as you persist in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, your outer world must reshape itself to match this inner conviction. Now let us address a common challenge in this practice, the apparent contradictions of your senses. As you begin to live in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you may find that your current circumstances seem to contradict your assumption. Bills may still need to be paid. Problems may still arise. How do you maintain your feeling in the face of these seeming contradictions? This is where the art of ignoring comes into play. To ignore is not to deny the existence of something, but to refrain from giving it your attention and energy. When contradictory evidence appears, acknowledge it briefly, then immediately return your attention to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Remember, what you see in your outer world is the result of past assumptions, past feelings. It is like an echo of what you once believed. Your task now is to give more attention, more importance, more reality to your new assumption than to these outdated circumstances. This practice requires mental discipline. It requires you to stand firm in your new assumption, even when your senses argue against it. But remember, your senses only show you what has been, not what can be. Your imagination, informed by your feeling, shows you what will be. As you persist in maintaining the feeling of your wish fulfilled, even in the face of contradictory evidence, you will begin to see changes in your outer world. These changes may start small, a fortunate coincidence, an unexpected opportunity, a shift in someone's behavior towards you. Do not dismiss these as mere chance. They are the first fruits of your new assumption taking root. Now, let us delve deeper into the nature of feeling. When I speak of feeling, I am not referring merely to emotions, though emotions play a part. I am speaking of a deeper sense, a knowing and unshakable conviction. It is the difference between, say, I want to be wealthy. It is the difference between, say, I want to be wealthy and knowing. In the very core of your being, I am wealthy. This feeling conviction is not something you can fake or force. It arises naturally when you have successfully impressed your desire upon your subconscious mind. This is why the repeated use of your imagination is so crucial. Each time you return to your imaginal scene, each time you step into feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are deepening this impression. Think of it like wearing a groove in a record. The first time you play the record, the needle may skip and jump, but with repeated plays, the groove deepens and the music plays smoothly. Similarly, as you repeat your imaginal act, the feeling becomes more natural, more habitual. It becomes your dominant state. This is the state. This is the state from which creation occurs. When you can maintain this feeling conviction throughout your day, when it becomes as natural as breathing, you have mastered the art of conscious creation. Your outer world has no choice but to conform to this inner state. But what of those moments when doubt creeps in, when fear arises, when the old patterns of thought and feeling try to reassert themselves? These moments are inevitable, especially in the beginning of your practice. Do not be discouraged by them. Instead, see them as opportunities to strengthen your new assumption. When doubt arises, do not fight it. Fighting against the thought only gives it more power. Instead, gently but firmly return to your feeling of wish fulfilled. Remind yourself that what you see around you is the past. Your new assumption, your new feeling is creating your future. This brings us to another crucial aspect of visualization that causes reality to shift instantly, the concept of living in the end. Living in the end means assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled in your day-to-day life. It's not enough to visualize for a few minutes each day and then return to your old patterns of thought and feeling. You must carry the feeling of your wish fulfilled with you throughout your day. This doesn't mean you deny your current circumstances. Rather, you acknowledge them briefly, then immediately return to the feeling of your desire fulfilled. You live from the assumption that what you desire is already yours. For example, if your desire is for financial abundance, you would feel the security, freedom, and joy of wealth as you go about your day. When you make purchases, you would feel the ease and confidence of someone who has more than enough. When you interact with others, you would carry yourself with the assurance of a wealthy person. Living in the end requires a shift in your entire way of being. It's not about pretending or pre-acting. It's about genuinely assuming a new state of consciousness. When you do this effectively, you'll find that your actions naturally align with your assumed state. This practice of living in the end can be challenging at first. Your current circumstances may seem to contradict your assumed state. This is where persistence and faith come in. You must persist in your new assumption, even when your senses deny it. Remember, your senses only show you the effects of past assumptions. As you persist in your new assumption, as you consistently live from the end, your outer world must gradually reshape itself to match your inner picture. Now, let us address the role of action in this process of instant reality shifting. Some people mistakenly believe that visualization means they can simply imagine their desires and then sit back and wait for them to magically appear. This is not the case. Effective visualization does not negate action. It informs action. When you successfully impress your desire upon your subconscious mind, when you truly feel you're fulfilled, you will be inspired to take actions that align with this state. These actions will feel natural, even inevitable. They will not be driven by fear or lack, but will flow from your assumed state of fulfillment. This is a crucial distinction. When you take action from a place of lack, trying to get what you desire, you are actually affirming the assumption of not having it. But when you take action from the assumption of already having your desire fulfilled, you open yourself to infinite possibilities for its expression and expansion. So do not neglect action, but ensure that your actions are aligned with and flowing from your assumed state. Let your feeling guide your actions, rather than hoping your actions will create the feeling. Now, let us explore the concept of detachment in relation to visualization and instant reality shifting. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care about your desire. Rather, it means you're not anxiously attached to seeing immediate results or figuring out how your desire will manifest. When you're detached, you can visualize and feel your desire fulfilled without constantly looking for signs of its manifestation. You trust in the process, knowing that as you maintain the feeling of your wish fulfilled, it must inevitably express itself in your outer world. Detachment allows you to live in the present moment while holding your assumed state. It frees you from the anxiety and doubt that can undermine your creative work. It allows you to enjoy the journey of manifestation rather than being solely focused on the destination. Practice detachment by reminding yourself that your imaginal act imbued with feeling is the reality. What you see in the outer world is just a shadow, a reflection of past assumptions. As you persist in your new assumption, this shadow must change to match the new reality you're imagining and feeling. As we near the conclusion of our exploration, let us reflect on the ultimate purpose of this practice. The power of visualization, the cultivation of feeling, the art of living in the end. These are not merely techniques for acquiring material possessions or achieving worldly success. While they can certainly be used for these purposes, their true power lies in the transformation of consciousness they facilitate. As you master the art of visualization and feeling your wish fulfilled, you are essentially recreating yourself. You are stepping into a new concept of self, a new understanding of your relationship to the world around you. This practice reveals to you your true nature as a creative being. It shows you that you are not a victim of circumstances, but the author of your life story. It demonstrates that the power to shape your reality lies within you, in your capacity to imagine and to feel. Moreover, as you persist in this practice, you may find that your desires themselves begin to change. As you experience the fulfillment of your initial desires, as you grow in your understanding of your creative power, you may find yourself drawn to higher aspirations. You may feel called to use your creative ability, not just for personal gain, but for the betterment of all. This is the true gift of mastering the art of visualization and instant reality shifting, the ability to shape not just your individual life, but to contribute to the shaping of the world around you. For as you change your own consciousness, you inevitably affect the collective consciousness of humanity. In closing, my dear friends, remember this: once you visualize like this, imbuing your mental images with vivid sensory detail and intense feeling, reality shifts instantly. Your ability to feel the reality of your desire, to live from the state of your wish fulfilled, is the key to unlocking the infinite potential that resides within you. Go forth from here with this knowledge. Apply these principles in your daily life. Be aware of your visualizations and the feelings they evoke, for they are shaping your reality in every moment. Use your imagination consciously and deliberately to create scenes that imply the fulfillment of your days. Visualize with all the power of your senses, but above all, feel the reality of your wish fulfilled. And remember, persistence is key. The world you see around you is the result of habitual visualizations and feelings. As you persist in your new visualization, as you consistently live from the state of your wish fulfilled, your world must reshape itself to match this new inner conviction. You have within you the power to create the life you desire. You are limited only by your ability to visualize and to feel the reality of your wishes fulfilled. Embrace this truth, live from this understanding, and watch as your world transforms around you, reflecting the newfound mastery of your creative consciousness. Thank you. And may your journey of conscious creation through powerful visualization be filled with joy, wonder, and the thrill of manifesting your deepest desires. Let me begin by sharing a fundamental truth. Everything in your world is you pushed out. Every person, every relationship, every interaction is but a reflection of your own consciousness made manifest. When people suddenly change in your world, they are responding to changes within your own consciousness, whether you are aware of it or not. Now, let me tell you a story from the scripture that beautifully illustrates this principle. In the book of Genesis, we read about Jacob who wrestled with an angel through the night. This is not a historical event, but a psychological drama playing out in consciousness. Jacob wrestled alone, and through this solitary battle, he was transformed. His name was changed to Israel, which means he who rules as God. This story is speaking about you, about your journey of transformation. The wrestling match represents the internal struggle we all face when we must stand alone in our consciousness, when those around us seem to change or depart from our lives. Consider this: every person in your life is playing a role in accordance with your assumptions about them. When these assumptions change, when your consciousness shifts, they must, by law, change their role in your drama. This is not something to fear, but to understand deeply. I remember a lady who came to me in distress. She said, "Wayne, everyone in my life has changed. My friends have become strangers. My family seems distant. What am I to do?" I told her what I tell you now. This is not a tragedy, but an opportunity to discover the greatest discovery of your life, the discovery of your own divinity. You see, when people suddenly change, when relationships transform, it is life itself compelling you to stand alone in your imagination. It is pushing you toward the realization that you are the operant power, the only reality. Everything else is a shadow, a reflection of your own wonderful human imagination. Let me make this clear with another scriptural reference. In the book of John, Jesus says, "I have overcome the world." What world? The world of external dependency is the world of seeking fulfillment in others. He recognized that he and the Father, the human imagination, are one. Now, some of you might be thinking, "But Wayne, I didn't want these changes. I didn't want people to leave or transform." But I tell you this, your surface desires are not always aligned with the deeper movements of your consciousness, your inner conversations, your habitual assumptions. These are the true sculptors of your reality. When someone suddenly changes in your experience, look first to your own consciousness. What assumptions have you been harboring? What inner conversations have you been having? For it is these that shape your world, not the other way around. I recall a gentleman who attended my lectures in New York. He was distraught because his business partner of 20 years had suddenly turned against him. But upon examination, we discovered that for months he had been carrying an assumption of betrayal, playing out scenarios of distrust in his imagination. The external change was merely the manifestation of his own inner drama. This brings us to a crucial point. The art of surviving alone is not about isolation, but about self-reliance in consciousness. It's about understanding that you are the author of your experience and everyone else is simply playing their part in your script. Consider the biblical injunction, put not your trust in princes. This is not telling you to distrust others, but to place your trust in the one and only reality, your own wonderful human imagination. For when you truly grasp this, you will never be alone, for you cannot be separated from your own consciousness. Now, let me share with you the practical application of this knowledge. When you notice people changing around you, instead of reacting with fear or resistance, do this stand firmly in the awareness that you are the operant power. Your consciousness is the only reality. Begin to have new inner conversations. Instead of lamenting the changes, say to yourself, I am the creator of my reality. These changes are moving me toward my greater good. For remember, the whole vast world is yourself pushed out. Every person is yourself in another costume. I want you to understand something profound. The sudden changes in others are often a signal that you are ready for a greater revelation of your own power. Just as a butterfly must struggle alone to emerge from its chrysalis, you too must sometimes face the apparent solitude that precedes transformation. Let me tell you another story that illustrates this principle. There was a woman who attended my lectures in Los Angeles. She had built her entire life around her social circle, her relationships. When these began to change and dissolve, she fell into despair. But through understanding this law, she discovered something remarkable, her own divine nature. She began to practice what I'm sharing with you tonight. Instead of seeking validation or support from others, she turned within. She began to live from the assumption that she was complete, whole, and divinely supported. And do you know what happened? New relationships emerged, better ones aligned with her new self concept. This is the law as within, so without. The changes you see in others are reflecting changes in your own consciousness. Therefore, instead of trying to hold on to people or prevent change, focus on standing firmly in your own wonderful human imagination. Remember the words from Scripture, be still and know that I am God. This stillness is not physical stillness, but acquired confidence in your own consciousness as the creative power in your world. When you know this, truly know it. You cannot be disturbed by external changes. Now, let me address something that many of you might be wondering. What about love? What about connection? I tell you this, true love, true connection comes from the recognition that everyone in your world is you pushed out. When you love yourself, when you trust your own consciousness, you will naturally attract and maintain relationships that reflect this self-love. But here's the crucial point. These relationships will be different. They will no longer be based on dependency or fear, but on the recognition of your own completeness. People may still change, but these changes will no longer threaten your peace of mind. Consider this in the Bible. Jesus often withdrew to be alone. This was not about physical solitude, but about returning to the consciousness of being the operant power. When you can do this, when you can stand alone in your imagination, you have mastered the art of living. Let me give you a practical exercise. Tonight, when you go to sleep, instead of reviewing the changes and apparent losses in your life, do this. Live from the assumption that you are complete, whole, and divinely supported. Feel the truth of it. Fall asleep in this consciousness. For remember, your consciousness is the only reality. The people in your world are playing roles based on your assumptions. When these assumptions change, their roles must change. This is law. I want to share with you another profound truth. The ability to stand alone in your imagination is the greatest power you possess. It is the meaning behind the Scripture. The kingdom of heaven is within you. When you grasp this, when you live from this understanding, external changes lose their power to disturb you. Think about this. Everything you see in the world, every person, every relationship is a shadow cast by your consciousness. When the light of consciousness shifts, the shadows must move. This is not something to fear, but to embrace. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Wayne, what if I'm not ready to be alone? I tell you this, you are never truly alone. You are one with your own wonderful human imagination. And this is the only reality that matters. The changes you see in others are actually helping you discover this truth. They are pushing you toward the recognition of your own divinity. For remember, the whole vast world is yourself pushed out. Let me share one more story that illustrates this principle. A man came to me devastated because his entire social circle had suddenly turned against him. But through applying this law, through standing alone in his imagination, he discovered something remarkable. He found that as his consciousness shifted, as he began to live from the assumption of being divinely supported, new relationships naturally emerged that reflected this new state. This is the law: your outer world must conform to your inner assumptions. When people suddenly change, when relationships transform, it is life itself compelling you to examine and adjust your consciousness. Remember the words of Scripture. I am my Father are one. The Father is your own wonderful human imagination. When you know this, when you live from this understanding, you cannot be shaken by external changes. So tonight I urge you to embrace these changes. See them as the natural result of your own expanding consciousness. Stand alone in your imagination, knowing that it is the only reality that matters. For when you can do this, when you can truly stand alone in your consciousness, you will discover that you are never truly alone. You are one with the creative power of the universe, your own wonderful human imagination. And from this understanding, this recognition of your own divine nature, you will create relationships and experiences that reflect your highest assumptions about yourself and life. Remember, the whole vast world is yourself pushed out. Every person is yourself in another costume. When you grasp this, when you live from this truth, you will have mastered the art of living. So let people change. Let relationships transform. Stand firmly in your own consciousness, knowing that you are the operant power, the only reality that matters. For in this understanding lies true freedom, true peace, and true mastery of life. And so I tell you this profound truth again. When you truly grasp that you are the operant power, that your consciousness is God in action, these sudden changes in people become not just understandable, but necessary for your spiritual evolution. Consider what we read in Ecclesiastes: to everything there is a season. These seasons of change, these moments when people suddenly transform or depart from your life, are divine appointments in consciousness. They are not happening to you. They are happening from you. I recall a striking incident from my own experience in Barbados. A dear friend who had been constant in my life for many years suddenly became a stranger. At first, like many of you might feel, I was bewildered. But then I realized this change was reflecting a shift in my own consciousness. I was being prepared for a greater understanding of the law. You see, when people suddenly change, it is often a signal that you are ready to move into a new state of consciousness. Just as a snake must shed its old skin to grow, you must sometimes let go of old relationships and patterns to embody your new state. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversations create your tomorrow. When people suddenly change, examine your inner conversations about them. What have you been telling yourself? For remember, the whole vast world is yourself pushed out. I remember a young woman who came to me in New York. She was distraught because her life seemed to be turning away from her simultaneously. But when we examined her inner conversations, we discovered that for months she had been repeating to herself, "No one understands me. I must do everything alone." Do you see how outer world was simply conforming to her inner conversations? This is law, not chance. Now, some of you might ask, "But Wayne, how do I maintain my stability when everyone around me is changing?" The answer lies in understanding that stability comes not from external circumstances, but from your consciousness of being the operant power. Consider the words of Paul. "I have learned in whatsoever state I am, there were to be content." This is not resignation, but the recognition that your consciousness is the only reality. When you stand firm in this understanding, external changes lose their power to disturb you. Let me give you a practical technique for mastering the state of consciousness. Tonight, as you lay in your bed, instead of reviewing the day's events or worrying about changing relationships, do this. Feel the reality of being the consciousness in which all things exist. Feel the truth that you are the awareness in which all changes take place. For remember, consciousness is the only reality. Everything else, every person, every relationship, every circumstance is an effect, not a cause. When you live from this understanding, you become immune to the fear of sudden changes. I want to share with you a profound truth that few understand. The people who suddenly change or leave your life are actually helping you discover your own completeness. They are pushing you toward the recognition that you are sufficient unto yourself because you are one with your own wonderful human imagination. Think about this in the story of the prodigal son. The young man had to lose everything, his relationships, his wealth, his status, before he could discover his true inheritance. This story is about you, about your journey to self-discovery through apparent loss and change. Now, let me address something that many of you might be struggling with, the fear of being alone. This fear comes from not understanding that you can never be alone because you are one with the creative power of the universe, your own wonderful human imagination. I remember a man who attended my lectures in San Francisco. He had built his entire identity around his social circle and professional relationships. When these began to crumble, he felt as though his world was ending. But through applying this law, through standing alone in his imagination, he discovered something remarkable, his own divine nature. You see, when people suddenly change, they are actually helping you fulfill a deeper pattern in consciousness. They are playing their part in your spiritual awakening, whether they know it or not. Consider the biblical story of Joseph. His brothers suddenly turned against him, sold him into slavery. But this apparent betrayal was actually the means by which he discovered his true power and fulfilled his divine destiny. Your story is no different. When people change, when relationships transform, it is life itself compelling you to stand in your own divinity. It is pushing you toward the recognition that you are the author of your experience, not a victim of circumstances. Remember these words, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. This transformation often requires the dissolution of old patterns, old relationships, old ways of being. When people suddenly change, they are reflecting this inner transformation. Let me give you another practical application of this law. Instead of resisting these changes, instead of trying to hold on to people who are clearly moving in a different direction, do this. Stand firmly in the consciousness of being the operant power. Know that you are the awareness in which all things exist. For remember, the whole vast world is yourself pushed out. Every person who suddenly changes is reflecting a change in your own consciousness, whether you are aware of it or not. I want you to grasp something profound. These sudden changes in relationships are actually opportunities for the greatest discovery of your life, the discovery of your own divine nature. When you understand this, when you live from this truth, you become invincible to external changes. Consider the words of Scripture, though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. This is not about blind faith in an external God, but about absolute confidence in your own wonderful human imagination, regardless of external circumstances. Remember, you are not a victim of these changes. You are the creator of your reality, and everyone in your world is playing their part in your divine drama. When you grasp this, when you live from this understanding, you become master of your destiny. I want you to know that every word I speak is not just for your ears, but for your soul. For it is within the depths of your being that the true power of creation resides. And it is through understanding and applying this power that you will find the strength to rise, no matter how many times you may fall. Let us begin by understanding a fundamental truth. You are not a helpless being tossed about by the winds of circumstance. You are in fact the very author of your life story. Every experience, every triumph, and yes, every setback is a creation of your own making. This may seem a heavy burden to bear, but I assure you it is the key to your liberation. Imagine if you were a master sculptor standing before a block of marble. To the untrained eye, that marble may appear cold, unyielding, perhaps even intimidating in its solidity. But to the sculptor, that marble contains infinite possibilities. Within its seemingly impenetrable surface lies every statue that could ever be conceived. The sculptor's task is not to force the marble into submission, but to reveal the beauty that already exists within. You, my dear friends, are both the sculptor and the marble. Your life, with all its challenges and victories, is the masterpiece you are continually shaping. When you fall, when you face setbacks or disappointments, you are not being punished by an uncaring universe, nor you are simply in the process of revealing a more magnificent aspect of yourself. But how, you may ask, does one find the strength to rise again when the weight of failure seems too heavy to bear? The answer lies in understanding the true nature of your being. You are not your failures, nor are you your successes. You are the awareness that experiences both. You are the consciousness that persists through every high and every low. Consider for a moment the nature of consciousness. It is ever-present, unchanging, and eternal. It is the backdrop against which all experiences play out. When you identify with this consciousness, rather than with the temporary states of success or failure, you tap into an inexhaustible source of strength. This strength is not something you need to acquire or develop. It is already within you, waiting to be recognized and expressed. It is the very essence of your being, the divine spark that animates your human form. When you align yourself with this inner strength, picking yourself up becomes not just possible, but inevitable. Let me share with you a technique that will help you access this inner strength whenever you need it. Close your eyes for a moment and take a deep breath. As you breathe in, imagine that you are drawing in not just air, but the very essence of life itself. Feel this life, giving energy, filling every cell of your body, every corner of your being. As you exhale, release all thoughts of past failures, all doubts about your ability to rise again. Let them flow out of you, dissolving into the ether. Now in this space of calm and clarity, imagine yourself standing tall, radiant with inner strength. See yourself moving forward with confidence and purpose, undeterred by any obstacle. Hold this image in your mind. Feel the emotions associated with it. Let it become more real to you than any setback you've experienced. This, my friends, is the power of your imagination at work. And your imagination, properly directed, is the most potent force in the universe. Remember, the world you see around you is nothing more than a reflection of your inner states. When you change your inner world, your outer world must by law change to match it. This is not wishful thinking or blind optimism. This is the operation of universal law, as certain as gravity. Now let us delve deeper into the mechanics of rising after fall. When you encounter a setback, it's natural to feel discouraged. The human mind, conditioned by years of societal programming, often defaults to negative self-talk and limiting beliefs. But I want you to understand that these thoughts and beliefs are not you. They are simply habits of mind. And like any habit, they can be changed. The first step in changing these habits is to become aware of them. Pay attention to the thoughts that arise when you face a challenge. Are they supportive and empowering, or do they undermine your confidence? Once you've identified these thoughts, you can begin to change them. But here's the crucial point. You don't change these thoughts by fighting against them. Resistance only gives them more power. Instead, you change them by replacing them with new empowering thoughts. And you do this not through force of will, but through the power of your imagination. Imagine yourself as the person you wish to be, someone who rises effortlessly after every fellow. See yourself moving through life with unshakable confidence, turning every setback into a stomping stone for greater achievement. Feel the emotions associated with being this person. Let every cell in your body vibrate with this new self-image. As you practice this, you'll find that picking yourself up becomes easier and more natural. It's not that you won't face challenges. Challenges are an inevitable part of life's journey. But your response to these challenges will change. Instead of being defeated by them, you'll see them as opportunities for growth and self-discovery. Now let me address a common misconception. Many people believe that to keep going in the face of adversity requires gritting your teeth and pushing through by sheer force of will. But this approach is fraught with struggle and often leads to burnout. True perseverance comes not from forcing yourself forward, but from aligning yourself with the natural flow of life. Imagine a river flowing towards the sea. It doesn't struggle against the rocks in its path. It simply flows around them, over them, sometimes even through them. And in doing so, it shapes the very landscape it's traversing. This is how you should approach the journey of your life. Don't fight against obstacles. Flow with them, around them, through them. Let them shape you into something more beautiful, more powerful. This approach requires a fundamental shift in perspective. Instead of seeing setbacks as something happening to you, see them as happening for you. Every challenge is an opportunity for growth. Every failure is a stepping stone to success. When you embrace this mindset, you'll find that picking yourself up becomes not just easier, but actually enjoyable. Consider the life of any great achiever, an inventor, an artist, an entrepreneur. Their path to success was invariably marked by numerous setbacks and failures. But what set them apart was not an absence of failure, but their response to it. They didn't allow failure to define them. Instead, they used it as feedback, as valuable information to guide their next attempt. Thomas Edison, when asked about his numerous failed attempts to create the light bulb, famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This, my friends, is the attitude of a true creator. It's not about never falling. It's about always getting back up. But how does one cultivate this attitude? It begins with understanding that your true self, your divine nature, is untouched by failure or success. These are simply experiences that your human form goes through. Your essence remains pure, perfect, and complete. When you identify with this unchanging essence, rather than with the changing circumstances of your life, you tap into an inexhaustible source of strength and resilience. From this place of inner strength, picking yourself up becomes as natural as breathing. Now let me share with you a powerful technique to help you reconnect with this inner strength whenever you need it. I call it the I Am meditation. Find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Sit comfortably and close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths to center yourself. Now silently repeat the words I am to yourself. Don't add anything after these words. Just I am. Feel the power of these words. I am is the name of God, the creative force of the universe. When you say I am, you are aligning yourself with this creative power. As you continue to repeat I am, you may notice thoughts arising, doubts, fears, memories of past failures. Don't fight these thoughts. Simply observe them and let them pass, always returning to I am. Do this for at least 5 minutes each day, longer if you can. With regular practice, you'll find that this simple exercise profoundly shifts your perspective. You'll begin to identify more with the unchanging I am than with the changing circumstances of your life. And from this place of inner stability, picking yourself up and keeping going becomes effortless. Remember, my dear friends, that every great achievement in human history began as a thought, an idea in someone's mind. The buildings we live in, the cars we drive, the technology we use, all of these were once just ideas. And many of these ideas faced numerous setbacks before they became reality. The Wright brothers faced ridicule and failure many times before they achieved power and flight. But they kept going because they held fast to their vision. They knew in the depths of their being that flight was possible. And it was this unwavering belief, more than any technical skill, that ultimately led to their success. You too have dreams, visions of what your life could be. Perhaps you've tried to make these dreams a reality and face setbacks. Perhaps you've even given up on these dreams. I'm here to tell you that those dreams are not there. They live within you, waiting for you to breathe life into them once again. Your ability to pick yourself up and keep going is directly related to how vividly you can imagine your desired outcome. The clearer and more emotionally charged your vision, the more resilient you become. This is because your subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. When you consistently imagine yourself succeeding, overcoming obstacles, and living your dream life, you are literally rearing your brain to make this your reality. So I challenge you right now to revive those dreams you put aside, close your eyes, and see yourself living that life you've always wanted. Feel the emotions associated with that life. Make it so real in your mind that you can taste it, touch it, smell it. Do this every day, multiple times a day if you can. Make it a non-negotiable part of your daily routine, as important as eating or sleeping. As you do this, you'll find that setbacks and failures lose their power over you. They become mere blips on the radar, temporary detours on your path to your desired destination. You'll pick yourself up automatically because staying down simply won't be an option. Your vision will pull you forward, regardless of the obstacles in your path. Now let's address another crucial aspect of picking yourself up and keeping going: self-talk. The words you use both in your internal dialogue and in your everyday speech have immense power. They shape your perception of reality and consequently your experiences. Many people, when faced with setbacks, engage in negative self-talk. They say things like, I'm a failure, I'll never succeed, or why do I even bother? This kind of self-talk is not only unhelpful, it's actively harmful. It reinforces a negative self-image and makes it harder to bounce back from setbacks. Instead, I want you to consciously cultivate positive, empowering self-talk. When you face a setback, instead of saying, I'm a failure, say, I'm learning and growing. Instead of, I'll never succeed, say, my success is inevitable. Instead of, why do I even bother, say, every attempt brings me closer to my goal. This isn't about denying reality or pretending that setbacks don't hurt. It's about framing your experiences in a way that empowers you rather than defeats you. It's about choosing words that align with your divine nature, words that reflect your true power as a creator. Remember, your word is your wand. Every word you speak is a declaration to the universe, a seed planted in the fertile soil of infinite possibility. Choose your words wisely, for you will surely reap what you sow. Now let's talk about the role of silence in picking yourself up and keeping going. In our noisy, fast-paced world, we often underestimate the power of silence. But it is in silence that we connect most deeply with our inner strength, our divine nature. When you face a setback, resist the urge to immediately spring into action or to seek advice from others. Instead, retreat into silence. Spend some time each day in quiet contemplation. This doesn't have to be formal meditation, although that can be incredibly powerful. It can be as simple as taking a quiet walk in nature or sitting in stillness for a few minutes before you start your diva. In this silence, you'll find clarity. You'll be able to hear the still, small voice within that always knows the way forward. This inner guidance is far more reliable than any external advice, for it comes from the deepest part of you, the part that is one with the creative force of the universe. As you cultivate this practice of silence, you'll find that picking yourself up becomes almost automatic. You'll develop an inner resilience that no external circumstance can shake. You'll know with unshakable certainty that no matter what happens, you have the power to rise again. Now, my dear friends, as we near the end of our time together, I want to emphasize a crucial point. The ability to pick yourself up and keep going is not just about achieving your goals, although that is certainly part of it. More importantly, it's about fully expressing your divine nature, about becoming the person you were always meant to be. You see, every setback, every fall is an opportunity for growth. It's a chance to shed limitations, to break free from outdated beliefs, to step more fully into your power as a divine being. When you understand this, you'll no longer fear failure. In fact, you'll welcome challenges, for you'll know that each one brings you closer to your true self. Think of a butterfly emerging from its chrysalis. The struggle to break free is what gives its wings the strength to fly. In the same way, your struggles, your setbacks are strengthening you, preparing you for the magnificent life that awaits you. So I urge you, my dear friends, embrace your falls. See them for what they truly are, opportunities for transformation. And each time you pick yourself up, know that you are not just continuing your journey, but elevating it. You are ascending to new heights of being, expressing more and more of your divine nature. Remember, you are not a mere human being having occasional spiritual experiences. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. Your true nature is divine, perfect, and complete. Nothing can diminish this truth. No setback, no failure, no external circumstance can touch the core of who you are. When you live from this understanding, picking yourself up becomes more than just a response to setbacks. It becomes a joyous affirmation of your true nature. It becomes a sacred act, a way of honoring the divine spark within you. So, my dear friends, I challenge you to see every fall as an opportunity to rise higher. See every setback as a setup for a comeback. Know that with every challenge you face, you are being invited to express more of your divine nature, to shine your light more brightly in the world. And as you do this, you'll find that your life begins to flow with an ease and grace you may have never thought possible. You'll move through the world with unshakable confidence, knowing that no matter what happens, you have the power to key in, to keep going, to create the life of your dreams. Remember, the power to pick yourself up and keep going is not something you need to acquire. It's already within you, waiting to be recognized and expressed. It's your birthright as a divine being. Live it, own it, live it. As we come to the close of our time together, I want you to take a moment to reflect on what you've heard. Feel the truth of these words resonating in your being. Know that from this moment on, you have the power to face any challenge, to overcome an obstacle, to pick yourself up no matter how many times you fall. You are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. You have within you the power to create worlds, to shape reality according to your will. Never forget this truth. Live from it, let it inform every thought, every word, every action. And as you go forth from this place, know that you carry with you the infinite power of the universe. You are never alone, never without resources. The same power that created the stars and planets flows through you, ready to be expressed in your life. So go forth, my dear friends, with courage and confidence. Face your challenges head on, knowing that each one is an opportunity for misandroth. Pick yourself up when you fall, knowing that each time you do, you are affirming your divine nature. Keep going, no matter what, for your persistence is a testament to the indomitable spirit within you. Remember, you are not just living your life, you are creating it. Every thought, every word, every action is a brushstroke on the canvas of your existence. Think boldly, my friends. Create a masterpiece worthy of the divine artist that you are. And know this as you pick yourself up and keep going. As you persist in the face of challenges, as you continue to reach for your dreams, you are doing more than just improving your own life. You are lifting up all of humanity, for we are all connected, all part of the same divine consciousness. Triumph is everyone's triumph. Your light illuminates the world. So shine brightly, my dear friends. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep moving forward. The world is waiting for the unique gifts that only you can bring. Your journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step and continues with every time you pick yourself up and keep going. Go now and create the life of your dreams, for in doing so, you are fulfilling your divine purpose and blessing the world with your presence. Remember always you are powerful beyond measure, loved beyond imagination, and capable of more than you could ever dream. Now go and let your light shine.